Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. This is Mr. Dan Danielson. I am Rowdy Roddy Reece. We are down under the mat and we're here to talk about all things professional wrestling. Kicking her off this week, we are going to discuss that release and rehiring of R-Truth, now going by Ron Killings, perhaps?
Well, you've been away in Japan for a couple of weeks, right?
Yes,
And
I had lots of fun. Lots of fun.
You did have lots of fun, and we missed you greatly.
Did you?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I did miss podcasting a little bit.
So obviously there's been a lot of news that's happened in the last couple of weeks, so we'll touch on a bunch of stuff. And I think that the most prevalent things in terms of the releases and stuff, which we'll talk about, is R-Truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about his specifically, and then we can touch on the other releases and signings and stuff that have happened in that meantime.
Yes.
So Truth. For those that obviously were watching Saturday night's main event a couple of weeks ago, John Cena versus R-Truth. Cena beat R-Truth in about 7 minutes or so.
Oh, was it that quick?
It was only a short match.
Okay.
But it was exactly what you wanted from it, right?
Yeah.
Truth came out to John Cena's music.
The Ron Cena.
The Ron Cena last
That's
time
great
his
show.
now shirt. He hit, Cena was sort of bullied him around for a bit, and then Truth hit all of the 5 moves of Doom on Cena.
Love that.
Kicks out of the AA, and then, he goes for the belt shot, and then, Cena's going to do the belt shot on him, but then, Truth, just looks him down, and John's like, yeah, I can't do it. You're right. And everyone's
we
thinking,
fucking called it.
everyone's like, oh, this is the turn. Truth is the one that's now going to get Cena to realize he's not a bad guy. He's not the heel.
Did he just low blow him?
He gave the title back to the referee, and as the referee was putting the title away, bang, he low blowed Truth.
There we go.
Which was, but this to me, perfect. Exactly what I wanted this R-Truth match to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the title. You're never going to have him beating John Cena, but I wanted Truth to hit the faith spots, to have that hint of, is he going to get through to Cena? And then 1, 2, 3, it's done. Perfect. Exactly what we wanted. Cody came back, all that stuff. When it goes to Money in the Bank. After this match happened, about a week later, Truth puts out a tweet that, hi, I am not being renewed in my contract. I'm done with WWE.
Much to the shock of the entire wrestling world.
And this was the thing that, he'd just done this match.
Yeah.
I think then he got squashed by JC Mateo on a show somewhere. Someone was saying, maybe that didn't happen, I can't remember. But he then wasn't on TV. He was gone. So there was no farewell.
No.
And so everyone was like, oh, that makes him coming out in the Ron Cena farewell shirt. That hits a lot harder now than it should have. And what I'd said to you and what we discussed on our Discord was, look, didn't hit the mark, right? Truth is not the person to release. But when we've seen previous releases of Dakota Kai and Braun Strowman and all those sort of things where it's been a lot of people that have not only the WWE universe, but all of the backstage people love those characters and those people. Yeah. There's often a lot of tweets and messages of support and stuff. This one with Truth was tenfold. Every person, every single person, heel, face, doesn't matter who it was. Yeah. Everyone was putting out stories.
Had something to say in a positive light about
Gunther removed everything from WWE from his Twitter.
Everyone's reading into that a little bit too much, I might say.
Miz removed everything from his Twitter, and his contract is due to expire this year. I think that there was a lot of backlash from the talent backstage and people backstage that this was not something they wanted. And you mentioned it on our Money in the Bank review show when Kathy Kelly was talking about this afterwards. She got super emotional.
Yeah.
I think someone like R-Truth, who's been there for 20 years or 17 years in this run, every single person that sent a tweet out or a story about was how much fun R-Truth was. You ever needed to talk to someone, Ron was there for you. He made people smile backstage constantly. If you needed, someone to walk through a match with you or tell you, he would always be there. Not a single person had a single bad story about R-Truth. Yeah. And I think the internet, we all took that, obviously, that we lost our minds. We didn't want R-Truth to be released. Why would you get rid of someone like R-Truth? The crowds started chanting that we want Truth. There was R-Truth signs going to the shows, to Raw and SmackDown and stuff. Like, the upswell from the internet wrestling community was phenomenal that we wanted R-Truth. And thankfully, Triple H listened.
Yep.
Now, taking the step back from this, do I understand why TKO would want to release R-Truth? Yes. He's 55 years old.
He's pretty up there.
He is not he's not an on-screen character, but he's not Roman Reigns. He's not Seth Rollins.
He's not a superstar.
He's not in matches. He's selling merch, but he's not in matches in key storylines. Like, he's had his thing with John Cena. That was great. But when if you're TKO and you're looking at the books and you have 55-year-old R-Truth on $1 million and you have 38-year-old Seth Rollins on $2 million, well, which one are you getting rid of?
Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense.
And this is not us saying that we support their decision. This is just breaking things down and making business sense out of why it happened.
Yeah, and it wasn't a cut and it wasn't a release. It was just a, hey, we love you, but when this contract runs out in a few weeks, we're not renewing you. Yeah. We don't want to keep paying whatever we're paying to have you as a character.
And then for someone like Nick Khan to come out and directly go to R-Truth, because in the lead up to his return at Money in the Bank, it's come out, I think it was Pro Wrestling Insider released some information that a lot of people in WWE had been trying to contact R-Truth throughout this last week to get in contact, have a chat. And it wasn't until Nick Khan made a direct call to R-Truth that he actually picked up. And then within the last 48 to 72 hours prior to Money in the Bank, things were finalized.
Yep.
And I mentioned on our Money in the Bank review, thank God this return and this whole situation did not get spoiled. No, there was nothing in the dirt sheets whatsoever about R-Truth coming back, getting re-signed, whatever. And the fact that that had not leaked out is a testament to them being able to shut certain things down backstage and not have information leak out.
And I think you can tell the point when something was done was before SmackDown. Because on the Raw this week, they kind of muted all of the truth chants. So you weren't hearing a lot of "we want truth" or "we want truth" chants. But there was fan footage that was released, I think, of this week's Raw, where CM Punk was there after the show in the ring, and he made a comment where he just said, "That's really funny that you guys keep chanting for someone that's not here. Why would you do that?" Hilarious that we chanted for CM Punk's name for 10 years.
Yes.
But again, wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
So WWE, for those of us or for those of you on the internet that think we all got worked, brother, like this was a work.
I mean, we said it in jest yesterday after it happened, but
this wasn't a work. No. He was released. They've learnt from their decision and they brought him back.
So I think my only question from this was, had his contract officially expired between that tweet that he sent out and his return at Money in the Bank?
No.
Okay, so it was just maybe they came to terms and they worked something out to extend.
So
that contract.
his son put a tweet out saying like no cap or whatever, but then also said congrats, Dad, on getting a new deal. Yeah. So I think whatever it was, whether they were negotiating with Truth beforehand and he was on whatever figure it was, and they were like, no, we don't want to do it, so we're not re-signing you. And then all of this backlash came from everybody. And I feel like, in general, the WWE sometimes listens to its fans. But I think this was not just the fan. Like, when someone like The Miz, who's a 20-year vet, the amount of stuff he's had in his career with Truth, the awesome Truth and stuff, I would not be surprised if Miz, and he seems like the kind of, I don't want to call him a whiny baby, but I feel like Miz is the guy that picks up his phone and calls Nick Khan and says, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't you dare release R-Truth. What are you doing? If you do this, fine, I won't re-sign at the end of the year." Yeah. And I don't think he's the only talent that would have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on that as well, like we had Carlito do a similar thing, as well as Sarah Logan, Valhalla. They both came out on social medias to let the universe know that their contracts weren't being renewed. And that was it. Time with WWE done. Both of them having their second run cut again. It's the same thing with like Braun Strowman and Dakota Kai, like people that have left and then come back and then now they're going again. It's just like, it's a very weird cycle to have to deal with. And there's a lot of news going around, so we'll kind of like stay on topic but pivot a little bit. A lot of people's contracts are coming up this year. I've seen AJ Styles, Miz, Karrion Kross, just to name a few. And with news coming out that TKO, it's a big news point at the moment, TKO is $3 billion in debt. We had a bit of a research about that specifically, just to try and figure out exactly what that meant. And Dan will be able to break it down a lot better than I can because he's a much better business mind than I am. But at this current point, TKO is worth about $13.7 billion on the market. That's their market value. This $3 billion of debt that everyone keeps talking about, that's just their contracts and expenses.
It's their debts as a business.
Yes. So you take away that and their market value is still $10 billion.
Yeah. So I think that, I haven't looked at their books or anything, gone through the Wall Street Journal. I'm sure if you wanted to go into all that sort of stuff, you could find it on the internet. But essentially, the fact that they're $3 billion in debt, that debt for a business would include all the costs of their talent, of all their staff, of all of their performance centers, all the rent, everything. And this is TKO, so it also includes all the UFC. So you've got all the WWE people, staff, talent, performance centers, all the costs of their trucks, their production things and everything is worth all that.
Yeah.
UFC, the same thing. They've got all their different things, Dana White, et cetera, et cetera.
And UFC is apparently the bulk of that $3 billion as well, because they pay their talent a hell of a lot more than WWE does in certain circumstances.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
But they also have, big what's the word when you're in Vegas? A residency. They have residencies and stuff, which costs a lot of money in Vegas. So UFC has a lot of expenditure on that. So when you look at it and you think, far out, $3 billion in debt, that's horrible. But then, like I said, you look at the cost, the profitability of what they have. The Netflix deal is $5 billion, right? So that's just the TV deal for one show, plus whatever they're getting from the Fox, for USA, SmackDown, whatever. CW for NXT, all your different stuff from Peacock. Like, they are making money. They are still profitable. It's not like they're going under, right? It's just what, as a business needs to do is the more costs that you can cut, the less you have to pay, the more your margin is on the money you earn.
Yes, so they're looking to reduce that $3 billion of debt to staff and expenses.
Yep.
And some of the stuff that's coming out is this is the reason why talent not getting renewed. There's been big news about Roman Reigns' contract getting renegotiated, which is kind of wild to think about because what he did for the WWE in the lead up to its current state garnered that sort of contract that lucrative contract that Roman has.
But tell me
was well deserved.
What has Roman done this year to earn $15 million?
Yes, that's the problem.
Nothing. Like his match WrestleMania was fine. He's still like the biggest name. He'll pop up at SummerSlam. He'll do whatever, and he will sell shirts and he will get eyeballs on the product. But are they getting $15 million of value out of that? Probably not right now. So if you're a business, I want to renegotiate that. I want to try and make that.
I almost forgot what match Roman had at Mania. I'm sitting here. I was
the main event of night one.
You could probably look at my brain trying to
little hamster on the wheel.
Get the gears turning. Yeah. Like, I guarantee anyone watching this, if they look at me for the last 30 seconds, I'm sitting there, I'm like, the fuck did Roman do at Mania? Well, he lost for one, which is why I forgot.
But the business side of this is unfortunate, but it is also the world of, independent contractors and pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You've got, you've had people sign with WWE. They've, this year from AEW, there's Penta, Ricky Saints,
Ray Phoenix. Ethan Page came along late last year, but still, he's come along.
You've now got Mariah May, who we'll talk about in a minute. You've obviously got the people going from the NXT roster up to the main roster, your Stephanies, your Julias, your Roxannes. You can't have all of that and keep the same amount of people on the main roster. You just don't have A, the TV time, or B, the money to do it.
Yep.
So there has to be turnover. It's been the case for 20 years. People come in, go out, it's fine. It sucks when it's your favourite, and when it's someone like R-Truth that no one had a gripe with. It hits harder when you can see the reaction from all of the talent online about what they were saying about him. So I get why WWE has pivoted on this. I don't like the fact that Triple H is trying to make it out as a storyline.
Yeah,
you're part
it
of
didn't
the
come
story.
across. Like, yeah, as I mentioned just before, we were joking about it being a work. But I think Triple H was trying to pay it off like a work. I don't know. But maybe
also-
he's just doing that to, like, stuff with people.
But also, like, that's not the place to, like, a post-match presser for Money in the Bank is not the place to say we had to renegotiate contracts and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's not the point to do it because you want to try and keep the storyline alive. You want this.
Yes.
You want people to focus on Truth lost to John Cena at Saturday Night's Main Event,
And then he's gone.
and you killed the Ron Cena. The last time is now.
Yeah.
He's no longer, it's his childhood favorite and all that sort of stuff. That Truth is gone. He's now been snapped out of that. He's come back as Ron Killings, and he wants to take out John Cena because he's ruined
Wrestling.
R-Truth. He's ruined wrestling for R-Truth, right? And so that's the story
There's
you
a
want
good
to
story
get.
there.
100% it is. It's a great story.
Do they just run it back at the next Saturday Night Main Event?
Sure.
I don't think anyone would be mad about that whatsoever.
Even if it's a tag match.
Yeah.
If you go again with Cena and maybe this time you do it with Cena and Travis Scott and you get Cody and R-Truth.
Yeah.
But like that story you need to keep up now. You can't be Triple H in the post match and be like, yeah, look, he was going to resign, but then we told him and Nick called him and all this stuff's done. Because that gets rid of the storyline you want to tell.
Mystique.
Yeah.
You know? It's really. You mentioned Mariah May, so let's pivot to some NXT stuff. Talking about her first, what a wild turn of events.
What a wild turn of events for the whole NXT women's division. So whilst you were in Japan, Stephanie
beats Jordan Grace for one, which
At
I did not
Battleground.
call. I figured Jordan would win the title, and then Stephanie gets called up, which Stephanie got called up, but she loses the title to JC Jane of all people, which
Yep.
about time they did something with JC Jane, but I feel like it
did you
was
see
kind of
that?
rushed.
Did you see that?
How the match finished.
Yeah.
No.
So it wasn't a roll up or anything, but like she hit her with a finish, and it was like 1, 2, 3, and
Like there was that little pause.
I think the only people in there that knew it was happening was Stephanie, because you could almost convince me that JC didn't know she was winning.
Wow.
Because
What a way to
she did
spring it on
and
her.
then she kind of was just like, "What? Oh my god!" And Mike Rome, the commentator, genuine shock.
I saw the clip of him just standing at ringside like,
I guarantee you, he did not know.
what a turn of events.
And so I think
What a turn of events.
this was definitely Shawn Michaels being like, all right, Stephanie's going to the main roster. Everyone knows that's happening. Everyone is gonna think Jordan's gonna beat you.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And then
JC.
that happens, and you're like, oh, okay. So then how are we doing this? And I think HBK and Stephanie were like, let's just do this. And they did. And they didn't tell anyone else. And this now leads to Mariah.
Yes, Mariah May makes her debut and interrupts the newly crowned JC Jane on NXT last week, by the time this goes out. The pop for Mariah May, the fact that it was just such a quick turnaround between all the news coming about her not re-signing with AEW and then like a week or two later, boom, there she is on NXT.
It wasn't a week or two, man. It was 2 days. She was on the AEW page on Monday. She was on NXT on Tuesday. This
Yeah,
is the
because
same
like,
thing
it had
that
been
happened.
rumoured in the weeks leading up to it happening. But I didn't know about like when specifically that contract was going to end.
June 1
And then, yeah.
June 2.
Yeah, and then it was like she's been removed from the AEW roster. And I was like, well, NXT or WWE bound, whatever. And then that same week, like get
next
stuffed,
night.
man. The fact that that's the second time they've done that with an AEW superstar this year, wild to think about. But saying that, let's talk about Mariah May and her link to WWE. That's been her goal for professional wrestling for her entire career.
Yep.
She used to do modeling for WWE merchandise.
Yeah, she was in WWE shop.
Yeah, like this is her dream, and you could see it by the reaction and the smile on her face when she debuted, and the reaction that she got from being there.
Yep.
NXT just got glamorous, but the question is, what do we call her?
It's Mariah March.
Mariah March, Mariah May.
I think it was Cultaholic that I was watching one of their videos. Mariah Monroe.
Oh, I would get down with that.
Because I think they have to obviously rename her.
Yeah,
And Mariah is her name. I think they keep the Mariah part.
she does have a very Marilyn Monroe look about her, like
I
the
think-
blonde
I think-
locks. And,
Mariah Monroe
I like that.
is a good one. And you can keep MM. You keep all of her gear, all that sort of stuff still it is. And then I think that's a nice little cheeky little rebranding.
Yeah,
she's clearly beating JC Jane. She's clearly going to be the NXT
absolutely.
champion.
Yeah. That was the unfortunate thing, the fact that JC Jane wins a week later, Mariah May debuts and says, coming after your title. I was like,
Well, I didn't watch all the NXT, I only saw the Mariah part at the end.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Like every woman had come out. Jordan come out. Kalani came out. All of them were out there to talk about they were going to have a shot at the title. And I think it was just building up how big this women's division is again.
Yeah.
You've taken Stephanie away. You've taken Roxanne away. You've taken Julia away.
but everyone's still there.
Still heaps of them
There's
here.
still so much talent there. And like, didn't get to expand on it much just before, but JC Jane finally getting a championship in NXT that's not a tag team belt.
Yep.
Long overdue since the split with Gigi Dolan, who's no longer with the company. If you had asked me who would have lasted longer in that company when they initially split, I would have said Gigi Dolan for sure.
Priscilla Kelly now, I think.
She's back to Priscilla Kelly. Just don't do the weird shit that you're doing on the indies before, please. If you haven't, I'll mention it.
You can enlighten me later.
I'm not going to mention it.
I don't know what you did.
It's not great.
Okay.
But yeah, just like JC Jane finally getting a break like that. And if it was called on the fly or just like kept secret from everyone, like you suspect,
it just
even
seemed
better for her.
It seemed like a finish that no one was prepared for.
And they do those really well in WWE when they want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
And look, HBK loves a screw job, right?
Yeah.
I guess the other signings and stuff that we sort of I wanted to touch on at least quickly is in the TNA space, actually.
Yeah.
We obviously have our
What are you talking about?
good friend, Indy Hartwell.
Yeah.
Who signed with them for a while now.
And then the inspiration are back.
There it is, the inspiration.
Yes.
So the
finally back.
Iconics.
The Iconics are back. Hooray!
I hope this is opening the door for them to show up on NXT.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to. Imagine the pop. Oh,
it's going to be
God
huge.
damn it.
It's going to be absolutely huge. Especially if they can get it done before October when we come
I
to
want to
Perth.
see TNA come back down to Australia. Now that we've got so much Aussie talent there.
Yeah.
Do
Just get them to come over. They're not doing NXT in Perth. But if you're doing a SmackDown...
A Raw and a...
And what are we getting? Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel.
Maybe you get some NXT talent come across. Maybe you get the Iconics. If there's something from NXT.
Do you have a super show? A local super show? Get some high caliber international talent.
Well, Indy's still the MCW champion, right?
There you go. There you go. Keeping on topic of NXT, Trick Williams.
Oh, and TNA. Well, what a segue, Reece. Well done.
Trick Williams. TNA champion. Who would have thought it? Beating Joe Hendry at NXT Battleground the other week.
Wow. Absolutely. I've said wild
Crazy.
a lot today, but the last few weeks...
That is actually wild. Because...
Well, not only the fact that there was a TNA championship defended on a WWE pay-per-view.
But it changed hands. And the TNA president was sitting in the crowd and he did not look pleased.
Oh, that's storyline for sure.
Oh, probably. But still, like having an outsider take your championship. There had to be... It's just all the memes coming out about how much WWE is screwing TNA with this partnership.
Not a chance. Are you kidding?
But they're giving them the platform and look at the...
How much more relevant is TNA right now than it has been
more
for years?
relevant than AEW. Better attendance than AEW.
More TV eyes on it, more storyline eyes on it.
It's so beneficial for both parties.
It's working. It really is.
Yeah, I could not believe that Trick actually won it. Off Joe Hendry of all people.
Because now there's like a few people that have been both the TNA and the NXT champion. It's like Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre. There's like 4, I think.
Yeah.
And Trick was one of them. There's another one I'm missing.
Trick's one of that field now, which is crazy to think about.
Who am I missing? Who am I missing that has done both?
I mean, did they put AJ there because he had the...
No, he was never the NXT champion.
Yeah. Small Joe.
Smile Joe, yes.
Small Joe.
Yeah, there we go.
It came to me eventually.
You got there.
Yeah, got there. I don't think we've got much else to say on that front, so we're just going to move
No,
on.
I just think it's
just like, holy shit.
wild. And this, to me, makes TNA and NXT more I wouldn't say must-see watching, but it makes it more interesting to watch now because there are so many moving parts in there. You've got, Mariah May showing up. You've got Trick with the TNA Championship. You've got Joe Hendry coming in and out. It's absolutely crazy the amount of stuff that's going on in wrestling to think that's the B shows.
Yeah. Crazy. Let's talk about Roxanne for a second. And some rather frightening news that broke earlier this week about a particular Twitter page that came out with the title of "Is Roxanne Perez Dead Yet?" And that accompanied with the fact that her personal information and home address got leaked onto the internet. Mm-hmm. There's some scary shit happening. And thankfully, the wrestling community banded together and got news through to Adam Pearce and WWE.
Yep.
And security was increased. They got protection for Roxanne Perez, and I'm sure they're sorting it out.
And the page was taken down and lots of stuff was traced back.
They're working it out with police as well. So, but the fact that that even happens in this day and age,
just grow up,
bro. It's wrestling. She's playing a character on TV. She's probably one of the nicest people you would meet outside of being that character. But no, you just got to take it personally.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you give Dirty Dom chicken nuggies, all right? You can't break up the Judgment Day.
So you're saying it was Liv? It was Liv all along that did this?
No, I reckon it was Raquel. I don't think Liv would do it. I think Raquel would be like, I'm trying to protect my Liv by doing this. And it was
they can't make that a storyline. Please don't.
God, no, of course not.
Please don't. Has much expanded on that front in the weeks that I've been off, or is it
with the Judgment Day stuff?
Yeah.
No,
I've seen a lot of pictures of Finn smiling.
Oh, it's all Finn, 100%. Finn's poking the bear everywhere. Liv came back when she was there. Roxy tried to help her, but actually cost her one of the matches.
Was that the qualifier?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It didn't, and then it was the same with Raquel versus Io, I think. I can't remember. She came out to help Raquel and then distracted her and she actually lost.
Yeah. End of the day, that's on the person wrestling the match by getting distracted.
I agree with you, 100%. So I don't think it's Roxy's fault. No. But you can tell that it's Finn's trying to drive a wedge in there. I think that maybe you're going to split Liv and Dom and Raquel away.
Yeah,
and you just go. Probably... And now, look, we've talked about this at the start. Carlito is not being renewed. He's been gone, and he's not shown back up on TV since.
Yeah, he took the PS5 with him too.
He did. Dom snuck a cheeky little Carlito shirt on in Raw when he wasn't supposed to. Well done. And he also went back to Puerto Rico and won a title down there in the Puerto Rico
Championship. The major championship. Yeah. Which I think his brother and his father also held. So massive props to Carlito for that one.
I think Carlito is done. But I think that means that the Judgment Day doesn't have that weird loose end of Carlito. It's like, whose side does he go on?
Yeah, it was a very odd situation having him there to begin with.
So I think you get a pretty clear split of Finn, JD, and Roxanne, and you get Dom, Raquel, and Liv.
Yeah.
And then that kind of splits the Judgment Day.
And neither of them continue to call themselves the Judgment Day, please.
I think they're probably done.
It's done. It's done.
There has been, though, an increase in Demon Finn Balor stuff. So there was
come back, man.
There was a lunchbox just above the set in the Judgment Day the other day where Finn and Liv.
Oh, it's been hanging around for months and months, though.
It was clean in the middle of the shot. And it was just above them, and I was like, it's got to be Dom versus Finn as the Demon.
Yeah,
that'd be and just could you imagine
for the IC title at SummerSlam? You heard it here first.
Can you imagine how chicken shit scared Dom's going to be when he sees the Demon?
Going to be Finn to win it, mate.
Oh, so good.
Finn to win it.
I'm
still proud of that.
You're going to go for that forever.
I'm still proud of that one. Let's continue on the Raw topic of things. Bronson Reed joining Seth Rollins' faction.
Yes.
Which you actually called, and I shot you down weeks ago when we talked about who was going to be the third man. Who was going to join that faction? Bronson, of all people.
Well, because
at Saturday night's
main event, he crushed CM Punk through the barricade and stuff. I love it. And I love the fact that when they came out on Raw, so many people were like, this doesn't make sense. He tsunami'd Seth 6 times and nearly killed him, and then there was the match in Saudi.
But that's how you garner respect for individuals.
The way that Paul Heyman just had to sell it and say, we saw what he could do, and we knew how valuable he would be, so we had to get him in. Done. Thank you.
Simple. Done.
Makes sense.
And Seth knows firsthand what he can do. So why wouldn't you want that on your side instead of that being what you're going against?
Mm-hmm. And then on SmackDown this week, you had where Solo was calling him out. They're like, we were brothers, we were in War Games together. You know, you were with the bloodline and now you're against us, and like Bron like getting in his face and stuff. So like, again, I'm glad that they're not just forgetting history, because I feel like a couple of years ago WWE just would have forgotten this whole
just
storyline
not bring it
happened.
up at all in the storyline.
Yeah, just move forward. Don't worry about it. But they're bringing up all of the logical points that us as the internet wrestling community are like. But he splashed Seth.
And
But
then
he
like
was in Raw
immediately
Games.
they're just like, here's why. Move on.
And that's all they need to do. Acknowledge it and move forward. And that's what they've done.
Love it. I think the last point that I've got written down, well, 2, PLEs. Lots to talk about PLEs. First one we'll talk about is Evolution 2 being officially cemented for AEW All-In Weekend. Dan's going to check the dates.
Is it that weekend?
It is. I'm fairly certain what I've seen about that getting announced is it's the same weekend as a Saturday night's main event. So I would assume, as an educated guess, Saturday night's main event will not feature any women's matches, and all the women's matches will be on Evolution 2.
Because it's the 13th of July in
13th.
Atlanta, Georgia.
In America.
Georgia.
July 12th is AEW All in Texas, which is the day that Saturday night's main event will be on. So WWE is specifically trying to counter-program AEW's second biggest show of the year.
Biggest show of the year. All In's the biggest show.
Well, I thought Double or Nothing was their big show.
No, All In.
All in. Well, let's see how big it's going to be this year. There's a slight difference between getting that rabid UK wrestling fan base to attend your events
To Texas.
to Texas. Yep. There's a big difference there. I'm really hoping it does well, because we'll most likely be watching it over Saturday night's main event, because that shit's always predictable.
Well, until this week. Until the last one.
Yeah.
Like where you had the really good cage match, you had Bronson returning, you had Cody coming back with Cena. They actually made the last Saturday night's main event
Something you have to watch.
a canon event that you had to watch.
Yeah. Okay. I'll use that in wrestling.
So yeah, the Saturday night's main event is the same night, and then Evolution is the day
That's
after.
going to be a Monday for us. God damn it.
It will be. The 14th of July is a Monday. For us.
Boo. Boo. Other premium live event news coming out and confirmed over the weekend. After WrestleMania 42 got pulled from New Orleans, there's a lot of speculation about where it was going to be held next year.
It was never going to Saudi, Reece. It was never going to Saudi.
Mate, people were always like, oh, if New Orleans got outbid by something, everyone immediately went to Vegas or Saudi.
London.
No, I don't reckon London could outbid.
I think London is the next out of American one. The first out of American WrestleMania is London.
Oh, it's got to be.
I think-
I don't want a Saudi Mania.
There is no way that WWE can't do Wembley at some point.
Yeah.
They have to prove a point that they are bigger than AEW. And
You watch them sell it out.
you watch Nick
Like
Khan
properly sell it out and get an actual
like 100,000
attendance.
people there.
Yeah.
They'll do it.
Just to spite AEW.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they do. But yes, WrestleMania 42, Vegas 2, Electric Boogaloo has been confirmed. Running it back.
What did Triple H say? If something's worth doing, it's worth doing twice.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not a huge fan of this from an international fan's perspective.
As far as I know, this will be the first time a specific city has held back-to-back Manias.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because they usually run it about a little bit.
I think this is obviously the money that's in Vegas.
Yes.
I think it went really profitably for WWE
And they'll
last
make
year.
it even more profitably for them.
Oh, for sure. And the thing with a place like Vegas, like I've never been, but my friends and everyone that have gone, is that there obviously is all the gambling and the casinos that is Vegas, but it is an entertainment hub.
Yeah.
Everywhere, all of those casinos have massive showrooms and things to put on residencies, and you can see, Britney Spears is doing a show there, or Whitney Houston, or whatever. Like, there's always things happening. So they want content in their town to bring people to Las Vegas. And when we saw what they did this year with, the WrestleCons and then all of the shows beforehand, there was wrestling on the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. There was Raw, SmackDown, NXT, everything in there. There's just so much money to bring it. And, we saw a lot of the Australian wrestlers that went overseas to go watch Mania.
Yeah.
They got booked in a bunch of shows over that weekend.
Yeah. Frankie B, Kingsley, Jimmy
Lena.
Townsend was over there, Lena Cross, Scott Green,
Lockie McIntyre.
fucking Lockie McIntyre,
Jerk.
Tuckman as well.
Well,
I think Tuckman and Scotty are still over there, aren't they?
yeah, they're staying at Grayson's house.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the videos.
They're in Orlando.
Top-notch shit, guys.
But like that is like the destination WrestleMania idea of what Vegas is.
Yeah.
From an international fan standpoint, God, Vegas is expensive. Like a bunch of people that I've talked to that went there, it was like $40 for a cheeseburger and chips. Like a large coffee was $8 US for a coffee.
It's like $12 Australian. That's ridiculous.
So the cost from a fan perspective to go there is exponentially higher than it would be
take
somewhere
it to
else.
Japan. Cheapest chips. Go get it. Go to 7-Eleven. Get yourself a egg salad sandwich for $2. Get yourself a 500ml can of Suntory -1, 196, whatever they call it. It's something different over there.
Sounds like
500ml can, 9%, $2.50.
See,
Mate.
$10 and Reece is done.
Oh, mate, one of those cans and I was off my face.
But I think from a business and a TKO standpoint, Vegas is great. From a fan standpoint, I don't know how this is going to go 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's going
I
to be a bit
think
rough.
that the cost for the tickets, SummerSlam's $20,000 like front row
For
tickets.
content creators that cover this and they get monetization from their content, it might be more substantial, more doable for them. For the little folks like
Depends
us,
on
we
how
ain't
it's
fucking
sponsored
doing it.
though. Like,
Yeah.
I think the problem with a Vegas WrestleMania again is that you take the families out.
Yeah.
If I am a mum and dad with 2 kids that wants to go to WrestleMania,
Vegas ain't it, man.
it's not, and the cost for it isn't it. So you kind of shift the demographic of people that are going to it. Are they still going to make money? Yes. Is it still going to be incredible? Yes. Are we still going to watch it? Absolutely. Is this the best thing for the fan base of WWE, or is this the best thing for the business of WWE?
For the business and getting notable celebrities front and center.
Yep.
And then people go, oh, they were at wrestling. Maybe I should watch wrestling. You might get new fans like that.
Well, you look at, I mean, we didn't actually mention this on the Money in the Bank thing, but everything that WWE touches now is sponsored. So Money in the Bank
Ladders,
had the
tables,
Fireball whiskey
chairs.
ladders,
Chairs are next.
the Slim Jim tables. This all started from one little Prime logo. One Prime logo in the middle of the ring.
And then
The floodgates have opened.
everything just cascaded. And people hate it.
I
And
don't
they hate
pay...
shit on WWE, but then they don't remember that New Japan does the same thing.
Oh, UFC's... If you've ever watched UFC, they've like the fighters' shorts were covered in logos and
The
sponsors.
center of the ring is a giant monster logo.
The octagon's covered in it.
Yeah.
So it is a TKO thing. It makes sense. The more money that they can get out of it, they will. But I am not overly sold from a fan perspective of Vegas again.
Yeah, and even that, just like PLEs in general for WWE, the prices just keep going up and up and up. And you saw the backlash at Money in the Bank.
Well, it wasn't sold out.
It wasn't sold out. You could visibly see chunks of empty seats. Like, there's going to be a point where people start revolting and not paying ridiculous costs to go to these events, and then they're going to have to rethink their business strategy.
No, they won't.
Well, they won't.
It's a cost of living crisis, and this is way outside of the wrestling thing. But it's like you can take it back to a loaf of bread. Right now, you pay $4.50 for a loaf of bread.
We paid
3 years
$2.
ago was $2.
Yeah.
Are Tip Top or Sunblessed ever going to go back to say it's fine? It costs us 30 cents in wheat plus travel costs to build this thing. We can go back to $2 and still make profit. Are they ever going to do it?
No, because they're making more profit.
Because
than
they
ever.
know we will spend $4.50 on it. Yeah. It's the same with WWE. They will never take the tickets back to $50 because they know we'll spend $100.
Yeah, and we are getting concerned about pricing for Perth.
Oh, it's going to cost so much money.
It's going to be shit. It's going to be so shit. I'm surprised they haven't announced tickets yet.
Yeah.
But I
We
feel
need
like
to book flights. We probably should start doing that.
Yeah, we've cemented accommodations. That's one thing.
Yeah. We're 1 foot in the door.
1 foot in the door, which I think we need to rethink now that Pete's coming.
Do we? What was it? Oh, it was just 2
Well-
hotel rooms.
Well, I reserved 2 different ones so we can pick one to stay at.
Oh, yeah,
but it's
okay.
just for 4 people, including Lockie.
Yeah, Loki can sleep on the floor. He's fine. He's a kid. He doesn't have back problems like we do.
Fair point. We'll figure it out. That about wraps it up for our topics today. Anything you want to slot in before we cut it off?
Not really. I think in general, like we haven't touched on AEW because I haven't watched the 17 hours that Double or Nothing and the Fighter Fest was.
And Whatever else they're doing.
I do want to sort of catch up on all the storylines before we get to All In because the Owen stuff. I have seen some of the promos with Ospreay and Hangman and Swerve. And
Let the bodies hit the floor, eh?
you don't want to talk on that one with
Nah, let's not talk on that one.
the
I think
Owen
the internet,
Hart Cup with the bodies hitting the floor.
come on, guys. Like,
But I think like some of the character stuff has been good. The MJF and Her Business I don't care for, but the
stuff
Tony
that's
and
been-
Mercedes, ooh, that's going to be fun.
that's going to be good. The stuff that I've seen that's been sort of intriguing is the way that Hangman, Ospreay, and Swerve have been interacting over the last couple of weeks. I haven't like watched a full promo, but I've seen snippets, and just the fact that they're interacting and are we teaming? Are we not? Are we
They'll
helping?
never
Are
help
we
each
not?
other out. Is
Like,
Ospreay going to be the
yeah,
peacemaker
it's
between
like-
them? Look, that'll be interesting, and I think that I want to watch a bit more of that when I get
Is
time.
this going to be like a WrestleMania 40 moment for All in Texas?
Yes.
Where it's Moxley and it's Hangman.
Yep.
And then you just get run in after run in after running, and then Hangman wins.
I think that is exactly what you're getting.
Yeah. I was surprised that Ospreay lost that Owen Hart Cup.
So was I, but I think we've said this before, is that
Hangman's
been the soul of AEW for years. It makes the most sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we then think Ospreay is going to be something very phenomenal for Forbidden Door when it's back in London? Yes. Is that the main event? Is that a championship? I don't know, but I think that
We'll see.
is the different part. So yeah, I definitely want to watch a bit more of that and sort of catch up. What else have you missed? The Seth stuff has been great. Obviously, with that faction growing, we talked about that quickly. Him controlling the WWE now as Mr. Money in the Bank. I think he cashes in on Jay.
He's probably cashed in by the time we put this out already.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Seth.
Congratulations, you now own WWE. I do have some issues that is too close to what Moxley is doing with the Death Riders.
We said it on the Money Bank review, or maybe it was this episode. Can't remember. It's all a big blur. What if he puts the belt in the briefcase, in the Money in the Bank briefcase, and they just rehash that whole storyline?
It would be kind of fun if he did that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they love doing similar things, like all the Shield members. They like to do similar things, play off each other, and all that sort of stuff. So I could see it happening.
Yeah, I think that's been the big story on obviously the John Cena farewell tour. I don't know how many dates are left because he's been on TV a fair bit actually.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I
He's
really
chewing through
wish-
those dates.
I really wish they do the date countdown like we.
We hope for. Yeah.
It'd just be so good. It's just like every time he comes out, it's like the first thing that pops up is the dates.
And it's
17 dates left, and then it just ticks down.
one. Yeah. Yeah, look, there's been a lot of wrestling the last few weeks. You've been away. It's been a good detox, I guess, for us to not have to granularly watch every second of wrestling on TV, so we can sort of pick what we want.
Yeah.
We'll get back into it. We'll have some more podcasts coming. We'll have more reactions and stuff for you. If you want to have a chat to us, give us your opinions. Discord.
Look, it's right on the screen there. Right
Down
there.
there. It's in the comments of the video, obviously in the description of the video. We have
Instagram over there. YouTube.
Yep. We had a slam show that you didn't go to. I went to a local show.
Yeah. How was that? Was it good?
Yeah, it was fun. The Dan Archer and I.
Big Tommy Knight's back.
Yep.
Love
That was fun for the open challenge. Frankie didn't beat Rita, but that was a really good match too. There's been a lot of movement in the local stuff. Ricky South's moving to Canada as well.
Oh shit, is he?
Yeah, to Vancouver. Same as Kingsley.
I know Jimmy Townsend's over there too.
Yeah, he's over there at the moment.
Yeah. No, I think he moved there.
Oh, probably too.
Yeah.
Are they all going? There must be like a thing that they're all just doing.
They'll have a giant share house.
Did you see the Tuckman and Scotty Green photos with CM Punk?
Yes, I did.
I'm very
Getting
jealous.
trained by him.
I can't wait to talk to those boys when we get to
Mate.
the next show, the PWA show. with them.
We're gonna seek you out at the next show, and we're just gonna like get right in. Your
Is he
face.
as cool as we all think he is?
That's great.
I'm sure he is.
Massive props to them though.
But yeah, like there's lots of local stuff coming up. There's obviously then Evolution, All In, heading up for SummerSlam in a few months. There's a lot on the plate right now.
Yeah.
And I'm really
The summer
keen.
of wrestling, even though it's winter for us.
Yeah, my toes are really cold. I should
Yeah.
put shoes on.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there so we can go get warm. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Mr. Dan Danielson. I've been Roddy Reece. We will see you next time down under the mat. Too sweet.